are now live. I almost said we are Venom, but no. Let me just double check. Make sure everything is up and running. Oh, there's so much fuzz on me. It's so weird. Take me to my channel. Gotta see what's going on. All right, YouTube is in fact live. I don't know why I'm saying, you guys can hear me, so it's weird that I'm saying it, but I said it. I said it! Now we're gonna pop on Twitch. Beep! Make sure everything is up and running on Twitch. Turn off chat only so we can actually see stuff. Twitch is also up and running. Okay, so I know I'm currently streaming to YouTube, but for some reason, according to there we go. YouTube didn't start. That's really, I've never seen that happen before, where it didn't know what I wanted to do. Oh, it's really weird. I've never seen that before. Blah, blah, blah. You can insert ads whenever you want. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. All right, turn this back on to chat only. Boop. Everything's up and running. We are good to go. I'm just going to do a couple little wee testy things. And by testy things, I mean I'm going to hit up this button to make sure that I get the check there on Twitch. I'm going to hit this button here so OBS and YouTube stop asking me to run ads. Boom. There we go. Ah, excellent, excellent, excellent. One thing I do just want to say before I get started with anything else is that, so I had mentioned at the end of the last stream that in my current campaign I'm using giant runes that were provided by somebody else. They were homebrew, because giant runes, as in Storm King's Thunder, and maybe also partly Rime of the Frost Maiden, but not 100% sure about that one. They're not really explained, so somebody made a homebrew of them where you can use giant runes. There is magic, but there's a cost associated with them, and you can apply the rune to an armor or just something you wear or a weapon. So there's actually 2 different effects that you could possibly have from each rune. So when we looked over runes last time that were more in line with the kind of runes that I already have in my campaign, somebody had made them. I think that Spectre Creations / the arena guy who was they made the runes we were looking at last week. I believe they are part of the team that made Kalia's Chronicles of Runes, so there will probably be things related to that later on, because I do or will have that sooner or later. I might already have a copy, and I haven't realized it. I don't think I have the physical copy. I have the digital copy already. But in order to fit the new runes that we went over last week in, I have been tweaking them in whatever little bits of free time I have to make them fit in more in line with the runes that I'm already using. And while they are based on someone else's work and what have you, I will probably release the work that I did when it looks a little nicer on Patreon or Google Drive or something like that. I'm not going to lock it behind a paywall or anything, because it wasn't my work to begin with, just some little tweaks that I worked on. So that will be out eventually. And when I finally do get to Kalia's Chronicles of Runes, I will most likely do that for a lot of the runes that I see in that book. So if you wanted to run runes like the giant runes were run, at least the way that I run them, there will be information for that at some point that I will release. I wanted to make sure that I said that here so I would remember. Looking at my notes, just things to get out of the way first. I think that that's good because in a future episode, whenever we talk about backgrounds, feats next, there's some stuff I want to talk about related to that, but it is not about subclasses, so we're going to ignore that. This is also a pretty... The first one we're looking at today is a pretty in-depth one, so it has more than just the subclass. So we'll see how far we get. The next one that comes after it is pretty simple in comparison. I know we made it through 2 last time. I think if they were all simple subclasses where it was just like, bam, here's the subclass, this is your feature, this is your feature, this is your feature, we could probably knock out 3 or 4 in one sitting. But let's test the waters. This is only the second time we've taken a crack at subclasses. We know how long actual classes take us to get through, because as a group it took us like 7 episodes to get through one class. So we're generally speaking going to try to shy away from that. Unless we do like one super long video, maybe. The plan is for the future where if it is a class or something that has a lot of information, like a homework assignment, we'll read through it during the week and just offer notes instead of going by everything as a line item. Because I think obviously it slows us down. But if we go through just what we have notes on, even though a lot of us take a lot of notes, I can't even front like we don't take a whole bunch of notes, all of us collectively. We would, that would be good. Just to go through exactly where our notes are, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. If it's self-explanatory, we don't really have to go over it. We could just offer you our thoughts on how we feel about it and that sort of thing. Also, Grimbo left some Pepsi Nitros here, and generally speaking, he does leave regular Pepsi Nitros. He left vanilla draft Pepsi Nitros, and it tastes like candy, and I don't know how to, like, my brain doesn't know how to interpret this. It shouldn't be soda. I also don't know what draft cola means, because normally, like, if it's on draft, you can get it at the place you're at, but if it comes from a supermarket, is not everything on draft? You know what I mean? But yeah, I will be working on those runes. I have done a little bit of work on them. The reason why I'm telling you that I'm going to release them separately is because technically they're not actually spells, so they won't go in the repository. And it's more of like almost like a DM thing where my players would have to come across them first for me to share them. So it's not like I'm going to leave them up there. What up, DM Shin?
What's going on?
Not much. How are you this week?
How's everybody doing out there in the world of the YouTube and Twitch?
Hey.
I didn't forget about you.
We'll never forget you. We love you all.
Not intentionally.
I have been catching VODs from a guy who used to be a nerdcore rapper, and this is actually on topic. And he was like, "Oh, I really want to get my streaming cred back, so I'm trying to stream on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok all at the same time." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if you want to start everywhere at once, man."
It's a little rough. Not gonna lie.
So
it's a wee bit rough.
You do you, boo boo. It's cool that you're here. Like, keep on coming back, man. man. I also didn't know that he stopped being a nerdcore rapper because he started writing and illustrating a comic book. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Oh. It's always interesting when like you find out like that person that you thought like disappeared off the face of the earth was just secretly like, oh, he just joined Greenpeace. Or like she just happened to like go discover oxygen or something crazy like that. And you just kind of go, oh, is that what they're doing now?
Good for y'all, man. Have some fun. Do some right by the world.
Yeah, like listen. I feel like if I disappeared, they'd come back and they'd be like, he ate a tub of popcorn.
Understandable. I can't believe
before the movie started
that there are now stores of just, in air quotes, gourmet popcorn. I'm like, nah,
It
man.
makes me so upset.
You're supposed to just like go to the snack section and buy a big plastic tub of your weird flavored popcorn. I'm not going to a store just for popcorn.
I still have something left. I still have something left inside. All right. I can't do it. I still I still believe.
Are you excited about subclasses today?
I am, actually. I'm excited because subclasses are an interesting if you're a fan, this is actually rare that I feel like I can say this, but if you're a fan of how this all started here on the roundtable, you would know that we started off on a subclass. Well, it's more of a class, what would you say?
Yeah, we started off on a whole class. I was talking about that before. I was like, we did not zoom through it, and that's kind of why I'm thinking in the future that like those kind of things, like even in the homework section, though we haven't done a homework episode yet, like we're gonna do our best to read through it during the week. And then we'll give you our notes. And yes, we all do take pretty detailed notes, but when there's like 100 pages, most of us aren't going to take a note on every page.
But additionally, it'll train us in a weird way to tailor our notes a little better.
Yeah. Like we don't have to tell you everything. If it's self-explanatory, it's self-explanatory. My best example for this is for those of you who follow Skinny Minis at all. They just did a huge Kickstarter for their Pokemon clone, the Monster Trainer's Handbook, and they released like 200 monsters for it and yada yada yada. And they've been sharing dev diaries of the team who came up with the rules for it. And in the dev diary, they were explaining to us like none of us have ever played Pokemon that fire beats grass and that they're super effective and half damage. And I was like, do you understand that the only people who kickstarted this are people who also play Pokemon? Like you don't have to talk to us like we know nothing.
We know who we are.
I don't realize sometimes we do that, but at least we're giving you flavor with it. It's not just like this is the thing that happens.
Yeah, we'd like to think we're enriching your life slowly.
Yeah.
And if we're not, well, hopefully you come back, tell us that we're not, so we can tell you that we're going to try a little bit harder to do so.
Yeah, we'll do our best. I don't have a fun button for that. I say, do I have a fun button for that? No.
Like I said, I don't have a fun button for that one. Like, I don't know if that one gets a fun button. That just seemed really, really deep.
I was like, oh, maybe I can put Murmur or Raki on there. I was like, no, they don't really fit. Raki's when he's mad, and Murmur's when you're being judged. This is a non-judgment zone, except there is, a whisper devil that will come judge you if you say some weird stuff. He'll just come on in and judge you for a little bit, and then he'll leave. Oh no, he came
Get a
back.
little judgment on. Listen, sometimes
I lost you at the
it's a circle.
point in the music where it played like the dun dun, and I was like, oh no, Murmur did kill him.
Also told me. Cut out. Oh no.
Now you're back. It added in
Test.
the last
Okay.
part that it cut off from you in super speed. Perfect. I was just about to say, I don't want to start complaining until DM Lacara gets here.
I am here.
I have to love the.
Wait no longer.
I'm not saying anything till you.
But today we're going to look at subclasses, and the first one is the Labyrinth, like your Greek type Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
I will. This is not the complaint that I wanted to make, but I happened to watch the VOD of when they had T-Pain play D&D at DreamHack Atlanta, and at the end of it, the DM, like one of the last monsters they ran into was Minotaurs, and I was like, how dare you? I'm gonna talk about Minotaurs on Monday. What's happening here?
Are you telling me that T-Pain secretly stalks our channel?
Might. For those of you on YouTube, if you do want to follow along, you can check the description. For those of you on Twitch, I'm gonna throw the link up there and pin it for the next 30 minutes. Boink.
Is T-Pain in the demi-plane of sludge?
He might be.
Is that how he knows?
He honestly might be. He spent a lot of time in that game talking about how he's been peed on so many times that his eyes just work. And I was like, in this post D-Pity,
What?
in this post Diddy
I'm sorry,
world,
hold on.
I don't know about that.
Wait Pause. Rewind. Run collection of words by me again.
So they
I'm not
had
gonna call that a sentence.
they were in a dream world, and it was being populated by their goddess's nightmares, and apparently wetting the bed is one of her nightmares. So there was a pissamental.
The world didn't need that. There's just a big bin in my head of things that I'm like, did not need that, and that goes into it.
That might definitely occupies a space in my brain that would have lived a thorough, fulfilling life having never known that.
Yep.
And maybe bound for a terrible reincarnation cycle.
Now you're gonna have nightmares with this thing.
Kind of just gonna get a message at 4 a.m. Do you know what was chasing me?
So one of my dear friends, my dearest friend, wrote a novel, and I read it, and have had multiple nightmares about it since then. I wrote to her and I was like, look, as a testament to your writing, I've been nightmaring since I read this thing. It had horror elements. I'm not nightmaring like some feel-good fluffy bunny story.
That's good.
And she's like, oh yay, but also I'm sorry. I'm like, it's working.
Yeah. If it burrowed into your psyche, it worked.
It did so hard. I mean, it helps that we had a shared childhood, so like the stuff that she writes, like I know everything she's drawing from, but But damn, that one got in there good.
All I ever think about whenever like someone says shared childhood, I just think about how the author, the mangaka of Naruto, he has a little brother, and his little brother is also a mangaka. Wrote a story that had a time skip like Naruto did, and everyone was like, "This guy's ripping you off." And the author of Naruto was like, we lived in the same house. We have like almost the same ideas, man. He's
Yeah.
not ripping me off.
This is not going to vary this much.
People ready to fight a war for you, and you're just like, no, wait, don't fight him.
Yeah.
No, I know that person.
But my complaint with the Labyrinth is not actually based on anything about this subclass. It's just that I feel like I was in the Labyrinth this weekend. I had a chat with my players about how I specifically didn't name characters because they're unimportant. You're not gonna. I just wanted to skip ahead because we had a guest player, and he didn't even get to play because my players would not speed ahead. And so I was like, you guys took that as me being mysterious with them, that they didn't want to give you their names. No, we just ignored it because we don't need them. They just happened to be there. And then they spent 2 hours on Saturday talking to those people, and not in-game time, in real life time. We had an 8-hour session, and it only 1 day in game passed by, and there was no combat.
That's got to be some kind of world record.
Like
maybe since like the original D&D.
It pains me that can occur because that means that literally they spent 8 plus hours fighting amongst one themselves and arguing about things and getting nothing done.
The part that I don't get is how basically they spent almost more time in real life going through fewer hours in game. Like, how does that work? How do you move slower in D&D than actual time?
At one point, I was like,
it's a skill.
Do you guys think that we're supposed to be playing in real time?
They have to.
I'm waiting for one of them to be like, I need to tell you how long my character's bowel movements are. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Oh yeah, if anybody had a campaign that was going to happen, and it would be yours. Also, can we talk for a second, Okami, about the fact that two of our party are like hanging out in the channel for my campaign right now?
I didn't.
Did you see that?
Oh, I thought it was your husband and somebody else. Nope.
Just two of our other players. I have no idea what they're doing in there.
I last night, one of our friends who like very infrequently sends us messages at 2:45 in the morning, he started messaging us, and I was like, oh, cool. And I happened to be doing D&D research at the time, and I found like the hardest line I've read in a long time, and I had shared it with you guys. But
that was great.
There is a Mezzaloth sellsword, in case any of you guys ever want to know, who has a quote, and the quote is, "You can hire me for 500 gold. You can trust me for 10,000 more." And so I sent a picture of what a Mezzaloth is. It's like a magic bug with a spear, basically, to the group chat that our friend was talking to us in. And I was like, yo, Jack TT is going to wake up in the morning and go, why are you looking these guys up? Huh? And so when he finally did look at the messages this morning, he just went, hey, what you doing? And I was like, nothing.
Don't worry about it. I threw Mezzaloths at you guys. That was what you guys fought in that cave.
Uh-huh. I was like, oh, this is the stupid loft that was. I can't. I'm not gonna lie to anybody here. I'm obviously racist against lofts. I can tell none of them apart, except for Arcana lofts are the only one. Are they even Arcana? Whatever one is the fox. That's the only one that I
Yeah.
recognize.
Yep, those are Arcanaloths.
The rest of them, I'm like,
Yeah, you
Tommy,
tend to veer away
I
from the
promise
whole
you.
like lower plains beasties.
Tommy, I can promise you that we will not judge you heavily.
But we have a maze to get lost in ourselves. I was telling the chat a little bit earlier that this is a more in-depth subclass than some of them are, because this one also comes with new Eldritch invocations and a new, if you were to take Pact of the Chain, a new familiar that you could summon. So it's a bit bigger than your average one. I will also say that the author of this is rather was a Reddit user named KitKat Fall in Love, but they deleted their Reddit account. I just happened to have all of their. I happen to have the post that this was originally attached to bookmarked, but I don't think the post exists anymore either. So this might be hard to find. So if you're looking for
Is
it,
this something
you might
that
have
people could
to.
get through your repository?
Depending on how it goes tonight.
Ooh.
But if not, you can search for the video. Might be one of the only places to find this now. And this is the most updated version that I could find. This version came out supposedly after the person deleted their Reddit account, so I'm assuming they must be updating it, or must have been updating it, and then just like forgot that this was all related. But here we are.
I need the link.
I put it in already.
You put it in
The
not our chat.
SuppleMENTAls chat. Well, the DM Roundtable chat.
Is it?
It's a Google Drive
my
file.
Discord. Yeah, no, my Discord's doing this really annoying thing recently. So is Slack, where like it's not scrolling to the bottom.
Oh.
And I don't know, like on Slack, it's a real problem because like it goes like days and days backwards.
Oh.
Yeah, I have no idea why. Okay, yeah, it's there. I see it. Thank you.
I thought you were having it like mine will either constantly tell me that there's a message even if I'm looking directly at it. It'll be like, hey, new message. Hey, new message. I'm like, I know, I have eyes. But I haven't gotten I can't scroll down in a while. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I can scroll down, but it doesn't look like I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you wondering, the like subclasses for warlocks are considered otherworldly patrons because you're getting power from somebody else. Or something else in this case, which is a labyrinth. If you're playing new rules and this is your subclass, I'm pretty sure at some point you're going to have to go to the labyrinth because you won't know, you'll just have magic powers.
Nope, you're just going to hit level 3 in new D&D and just boom, a labyrinth will be like, have some powers, buddy, and disappear on you. It's exactly how it's going to work in new D&D. To hell with making sense of why you have these patrons' powers.
Yeah, much less building a relationship with them through the early levels.
Again, the fact that clerics and warlocks and sorcerers who are literally the built-in started with their faith characters or their power characters need to know where the power came from. You've been studying at a temple of what?
You don't know.
The temple of things. Oh, I can't remember. Like, it would be one thing if it was a narrative point where your character doesn't remember until they're level 3, and that unlocks certain things. Do you get what I'm saying? But that would be
only
adding
for like
flavor.
somebody here and there.
Yeah, And I'd be adding flavor to roll. Or if like the party campaign was like they start at level 2 in session 1, and by the end of session 1 they hit level 3 and they remember who they are and they get to pick subclasses, and it's like a 3 to 7 or 3 to 11 kind of campaign. You know what I mean? Like a short-term thing.
Yeah.
For flavor purposes.
Okay, this is not specifically related to Labyrinth, but it is related to weird Greek stuff. In DC Comics, they finally talked about there's like a well of souls on Themyscira where Wonder Woman's from, and the well of souls is just a collecting pot for every woman's soul who has ever either had a superpower or died with some form of violence happening either to her or around her. And like the souls are recognizable, but they'll get reincarnated into new bodies, and that's supposed to be how Amazons are currently made in the universe. But like the idea that you could be one of those souls in a new body, and like at level 3 you realize who you used to be, like what your powers were, that's a lot of flavor for 2024 D&D.
Yeah.
That's too much flavor for 2024 D&D.
Yeah.
Sup, Arvid?
Yeah. Oversweeten the pot.
So Labyrinth is kind of almost like a Great Old Ones in that it's like weird and unknowable and will always be there, except that the cool thing with this is it's a legitimate place. It's more of an entire plane than just an individual that you're getting power from. And it's constantly changing and whipping around. Like, this would make a great bastion.
Don't say that word.
But not for your players, just for the world.
No, but that would be awesome. Think about how hard it would be to manage a bastion that is a labyrinth. See, this is what bastions should be. There should be something with such a hardcore drawback to them that, like, yeah, maybe you get powerful stuff out of it. Good luck finding it.
Like you'll never know what door or pathway will lead you to it, but sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're not.
Yep. Oh, so good.
That's nice. It does have an expanded spell list, which is fine. It's only original sorcerer subclasses that didn't get extra spells, so warlocks did used to get them. But this one actually has a new made-up spell. That is not an official spell. We'll get to that later as well. But it's cool that it has its own stuff.
Oh, please tell me it's like a trapping spell where you can trap somebody in the labyrinth.
It is called Lost.
Yes. This is my realm.
At first, I'm also thinking maybe your patron here is like, you have to send me like people who need to be punished, like send them to me, so that they're like trapped there forever,
or something like that almost.
Yeah, and like the idea that you're sending them to the labyrinth, and maybe they'll get out, but probably not. They might just be there forever. Like that's your deal with this patron. Like you're sending people to me so I can punish them forever.
Yeah.
I like these ideas. So at first level, if you take this, or if you just have it for some reason and you're using new rules, you get Mold Earth, and it does count as a Warlock cantrip for you, but you can cast it as a bonus action, and the scale of its effects are doubled, because you're all about moving walls and stuff. And for those of you Doctor Who fan, DM Lacara, would you like to take the next first level ability you get?
The next first. Wait, what? Oh, bigger on the inside?
Yeah.
At first level, your patron gives you access to a small portion of its ever-growing space. As a bonus action on your turn, you may target a creature up to 60 feet away and force them to make a whiz saving throw against your spell save DC, a willing creature automatically failing. On a failed save, you can either expand or condense the target's physical reality. So either expand, all movement types of the creature are halved, and any ranged spell or weapon attacks they make are halved in range. Or condense. To this creature, the world around them shrinks. Any movement this creature could make is doubled, as well as the range of any weapon attacks or spells being doubled. If the effect lasts until the end of your next turn. To outside viewers, the affected creature actions stay the same, but cross areas either unnaturally slowly or quickly. That's really cool.
I'm just thinking about a ranger with like sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Getting hit with condense and just like sniping the heavens.
Yeah.
Like the implications, sure, for a round, like combat's gonna change a lot, but the crowd control implications of this are also amazing.
You don't move now.
Yeah.
Although, wait, doesn't it say you can target a creature?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it also mentions that the range of attacks or spells. I'm sorry, have I ever wanted to double lightning bolt?
Yeah. Or dimension door?
1,000 feet of dimension door?
Sounds good to me.
Oh my god, okay. Hear me out. When you use this on Dimension Door, instead of it being like the way I always do Dimension Doors, it's not like literally a door, it's just like a portal, so like a rectangular aperture that you walk in and out of wherever you're going. But in this case, it's like the walls of the labyrinth kind of like open up and you walk into it and then pop out somewhere else.
Yep.
It's so cool!
If that was the case, I would absolutely want to be a Hexblade Labyrinth patron so I could walk through and just elbow drop people.
I
want to do 1,000-foot dimension door elbow drops from the Labyrinth walls.
You
oh my God,
at third level you do get meld into stone, so.
Oh.
It's like Greek mythology meets like Portal, like the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I love this. It also has. All right, Shin, would you like to take Brutalist Architecture?
I will.
The next part is the one that, like, as I was sliding through this, I just stopped to read it because I was like, whatever. But it's such a cool thing. All of these are so cool because they're like weird architecture vibes.
Well, at the 6th level, you'll gain Brutalist Architecture, which says, at 6th level, taking on the purpose malignancy of your patron. What a mouthful. You are able to convince the material world that your foes deserve its ire. When you deal bludgeoning damage with a weapon, attack, or spell, you may choose to add a number of D8 equal to your proficiency bonus to the damage roll around them, pelting them with debris. Wait, are you telling me
This is amazing?
I can just add at a high enough level 5d8 to just beat up somebody with a brick from my labyrinth and scatter debris?
Yep.
This is the greatest. I
know that this is very strong, but you get like a once per rest smite that is just like walls. Like all I'm imagining is like Thanos's clap in like Marvel superheroes when the two walls come up and clap you between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. You've just hit space and they just slam those two bricks of the epitaph into each other, break somebody's head. I love this.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
Elkami, then could you please continue and tell me, what do floor supports do?
All right, I know it has a very weird name, but hear me out. At 10th level, you've begun to subconsciously alter the material around you, able to push or pull out small portions of surfaces to aid you. While you're conscious, you can't be forced into the prone condition, using small pillars to keep yourself upwards. Additionally, you gain a climbing speed equal to your movement speed, manipulating walls in ways such as creating quickly crumbling stairs or self-moving slabs while leaving your hands free.
I'm just
I love
imagining
this.
like a paladin looking at this warlock and using command to have him kneel. And every time he goes to, it just forms a little stool of pillars underneath him, and he's just striking various poses
Yep.
as he's sitting in these chairs made of pillars beneath him. He's like, "You keep at it. It's not gonna work." That is. And then him just walking up a wall.
I want this to be something that like the DM describes as being one of those things that like hurts your brain to look at. Like when you're like walking up a wall, it's like it's not just you're walking up a wall like you cast spider climb. It's like you're seeing the wall as though gravity is turned the wrong way, and now everything looks weird to you as this warlock is just like running up whatever they need to.
And like especially in this age of anime where like the big explosions, everything breaks into cubes. That's all I see now. All these little cubes coming up out of the floor to push you back up, or popping out in weird, just like straight rectangles shooting out of the wall, like you're playing a PS1 platformer.
I'm even imagining that like you guys get to like the enemy bastion or like the enemy keep, and like they've trapped themselves up inside, like the obviously the tallest tower, kind of mocking, and this labyrinth warlock just kind of like ripping the whole front gate of this castle off to make like a set of stairs to just walk right up to the tower. And then just being like, huh?
Can he do that?
Hey, wait
Is
a
this
minute.
allowed?
Wait, who's this guy? How long has he been here?
You know what I would want to do with this? I would want this to be a dwarf. And I would want it to like blend in flavor wise, like with that they can manipulate this like this because of their stone cunning.
Yeah.
And just make it be like, oh, this is basalt. Watch this. And I would give them different abilities that they could do with different kinds of rock.
This becoming a warlock patron for like, but this and the patron of the labyrinth being that it's literally the souls of the dwarves that built it that just because they died building the labyrinth, their souls were trapped in the labyrinth, thus giving it all of the stone powers that it's bestowing upon you.
Yes.
I love every word that just came out of your mouth.
I had to take a sip of water. That was...
That's a lot of flavor there.
I don't even know what. I don't know what
outside of my window. I think.
I don't know what realm dwarf souls go to, but no, they go to the labyrinth now. That's fantastic.
That could be like the horror story behind how the labyrinth became. Like it was a specific labyrinth being built by like these enslaved dwarves.
Yep.
And they were so angry that like in completing the labyrinth they cursed it with their energy, and it became that. Yeah.
They worked the magic into it to come back and bite them.
Mm-hmm. Like as they were carving everything in and like carving the stone, they were carving ancient dwarven runes in there to like bind their working souls to make this labyrinth evil. Like, you got our work fine. You'll never enjoy it. Yeah, I need it.
Yep.
And this fits canonically if you're in the Forgotten Realms. Like, there's a ton of... the dwarf god of greed basically will turn dwarves into oozes if instead of working, they're trying to mine for themselves and what have you. So, it definitely fits if there's another god who's like, hey, I'll make you... Like, he just forces you to want to keep making things, to keep building things. And if you die, like construction accidents and what have you, all those souls end up there, and they just keep taking more and more. The labyrinth ever expands.
It could
Yeah.
also be that it wasn't a god before the labyrinth accident, so it's become a god in its own right. Like, it's gained so much power as an object that it's gained almost like when we looked at the Genius Loci that we brought up, where it was a sentient, it was an inanimate object given sentience. This same idea that the souls of the workers plus this labyrinth just feeling almost gave it a. In fact, you could make it a Genius Loci.
Basically.
You could just say that it's taken on the dwarves' souls because it remembers all the workers, and it was just like, I'm going to use their essence, and I'm going to bestow this power to punish, because, like they said, it's evil. It has hate in its heart, essentially. So you want to have. I feel like you want to, if you give a player takes this, you want them to be forced to commit Saw level like punishments on people by trapping them in the labyrinth.
I could see this being an interesting neutral patron though too, if you take it from the direction that like it's kind of trying to avenge those dwarves' deaths and like punish the people who are unjust and make that kind of thing happen. Like, yes, it's weird and it's creepy, but like ultimately it's trying to root out the kind of evil that created it.
It's a lawful evil style thing versus like a chaotic evil ideology, or even just like you said, it's a neutral evil kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at this
I like that
flavor,
idea.
y'all.
Like the character that the paladin like wants to fight with, like side by side with, but like never quite trusts.
Yeah, you can pay him 500 gold to hire him, but another 10,000 more to trust him.
He's like, I like your general style, but then you just like eviscerate someone after we already killed them, and that's like.
It was like, hey, remember that guy that we captured and we both agreed he was bad, and we said we have to take him down? Like, yeah. So I hit him with the smite, and then you smited him with a brick.
It's like, yeah. And
you don't see the extreme in all this. Like, no, man. That's usually what I do. You mess around, talk shit, get hit with a brick. That's just like my grandpappy taught me. Like, what?
Paladin's like,
realize this was a familial statement. Like,
you do know we could go to the store and buy ink. You don't have to keep making blueprints for your next building out of our enemy's blood, right?
No, man.
He's like, no, not that ink. you don't understand.
This is complicated architecture.
That could also be your deal.
Like drawings.
You draw architectural drawings. Anyone who's drawn one and like bestowed it upon the labyrinth, given it in tribute, now the labyrinth can make that shape.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And doing it in their blood is how you transfer them to the labyrinth.
Well, I read ahead for a little bit, but DM Lacara, maybe if you read the next section, you'll see a good place to use that blood, because
I'm already excited. It says non-Euclidean passage.
Yeah.
At 14th level, as an action, you can touch a doorway and mark it as a passage start. Following this, you may touch a different doorway within 5 miles of the first as a passage end, linking the two. A doorway counts as a hole leading into a separate area with a suitably opaque door, hatch, or similar dividing the threshold. Anything that moves through a linked doorway appears at its linked counterpart, no matter the circumstances. If one door is locked by means such as arcane lock or blocked by a bar, then its counterpart is as well. You may only have one passage link active at a time and can create one every long rest. Which still seems kind of OP.
It's fun with portals. You
Legitimately,
get your
just
own
fun
wizard
with
circle.
portals. However, I realize the limitation that if you lock one end, the other end's also locked, is actually less of a limitation when you think about it for you as the person who's creating it, because if someone else bars the other side, your side becomes barred. So if you remove your side, both sides lose the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's cool. I was hoping for more with the non-Euclidean tag on it. You know, it would be way more fun and just such a jerk thing to do.
Tell us. Tell us!
If you could make a doorway, any doorway, a passage, like a entrance to the labyrinth, and you've got some like the siege situation from before, and it's like you just make their front door not open into the courtyard anymore. It goes into the labyrinth.
Oh. I would even say if you wanted to have even more fun with this. Now this is going to be a bit vicious, but you kind of maybe if you wanted to give it an advanced version of the non-Euclidean of non-Euclidean passage, you could give like Euclidean vectors as like the next level, and it's just like you make 2 points and just on an opponent, and you could just pretty much swap the bottom halves or the top halves of an enemy with another one.
Yes.
Ah, like Law from One Piece when he puts people in the operating room and he can just remove body parts all willy-nilly and stick them onto something else.
Yep. And it fits with the whole like Minotaur thing.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's a matched monster.
Yep. I love it.
Oh, but that would mean that if you see the top, that would be hilarious. Imagine your party realizing that that's how Minotaurs are made, and then going into the labyrinth and finding the top half, the bottom half of a bull, top half of a man,
and swapping them back.
Just running around the labyrinth.
We can fix this ancient wrong.
It's like, yes, we finally have the technology. We can do it.
That's the whole quest.
Warlock's like, what are you doing? They fell in with like an adoption agency team.
They're here to be punished. Stop being nice to them.
Like, let them suffer, damn it. They're here for.
And also the square things, in the credits, they talk about how the idea that they basically got the idea from watching a video where someone was talking about control, and that is the labyrinth is essentially where you hang out in control. Control is based on SCP, so it's just all weird stuff that's happening in the world. And this office building is sort of like a nexus place where you can get all sorts of weird stuff, and they do a lot of things with cubes there too. So that makes a lot of sense.
Also, and I mean it's a bit of a spoiler, I guess, to some extent, so I apologize to anyone who has not played Remnant 2. But a factor of the game that you come across very early on is a labyrinth that connects the worlds. And it's a very cool it's its own area of the game that utilizes the labyrinth idea, a lot of cubes, a lot of portals as well. So I was kind of curious when I saw it, the labyrinth, that if it was kind of going to make a calling to Remnant 2. Because I'm not really sure of when this came out versus the game. Not exactly sure, the exact timeline on this release. Or maybe it's in the
original post that I had, which was like version 0.9, is from 4 years ago. This one that we're looking at is 2.2.
Okay.
So they could have.
And it seems like it might have been a little bit more built up beforehand. I'm not as sure if in Remnant 1 there's a lot of Labyrinth callbacks as well. So maybe there was something, but I think the idea of labyrinths connecting you to other places is such a dope idea.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with one of my players. You guys would know her as Valley of Ageria. She plays Nara in my campaign. She's getting ready to start her own campaign, and she.
Good luck to her.
Like, I'm so happy that my players are growing up before my very eyes.
Feels
However,
nice,
she
right?
made a 200 plus questionnaire to give to her people, basing it on like looking for group things. And the other day she's like, only 2 of my players have even looked at it. And I was like, I don't think the rest of them are gonna open it. That's too many questions.
Did you say 200? This is the 200 plus one. Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's ambitious.
Yeah. I was like, this is the ultimate looking for group thing. But all the people that are going to play in her campaign, she already knows them. She's not looking for group.
Yeah, that's a tough one to
be like insanely tailored.
Yeah. So her players had asked her, hey, are you going to bar us from using any particular races or any particular classes, any subclasses, any spells, what have you? And she was like, nah, do whatever you want. And I was like, I mean, listen, more power to you for trying at the beginning. I just gave her the usual, like most people, even I did this when I started my campaign. I was like, you can be any race except Aarakocra, because I'm not ready to deal with people who have a flight speed all the time. I didn't really understand how movement worked as well as I do now. Like now I'd be like, if you want to be an Aarakocra, go be an Aarakocra. But when you're first starting, because D&D doesn't use Euclidean geometry, like it's hard to figure out movement. Like this kind of Warlock where they can walk anywhere might be hard if you were a new DM to be like, oh, crap. My stuff, my maps, they're just going to go wherever they want.
Yeah.
I think though, I think that is a danger, when you're first starting to DM, to give people the free reign of, oh, be whatever you want to be. Because it's scary. It's scary to give them that freedom.
Yeah.
Is really the best way to put it.
I didn't know DMs usually don't.
Yeah,
I felt weird telling people not to be druids.
Oh, in your world, it even makes like there's a reason there's no druids. It's not even like I don't like wild shape or I don't understand how wild shape's gonna work. Yours is a story reason.
It disappeared. Yeah. And I was like, is that okay? Are people gonna be mad?
But you see, I feel like if you give a good story reason, like I was crafting, like I've been playing my game that I've been working on with some of my friends recently as another play group to test with. And they were asking me like, oh, what other classes do I want to have? And one of them was asking me about my magic system, which is all based on chaos. And they're like, well, how come someone can't have it based on hope? And I was just like, because there is no hope. I was like, there's no hope for these people to draw off of. So the idea of pulling magic from hope probably wouldn't be that powerful. And I was like, that doesn't mean that it couldn't happen, but I'm pretty sure someone pulling from hope would end up dead pretty quickly, or end up being like a beacon towards something otherworldly that would be like, what do you think you're doing? They're like,
sounds like an interesting world.
I wanted to make it as grim as possible, but I wanted it to give purpose as to why things were so dark, like why things had to end up this way, and to really lean on the idea that they aren't heroes. That's kind of the main thing. That it's a game based around I definitely want to talk about it one day once I have stuff fully completed in a better document sense. But it's definitely a world built around the idea that you have a mission to complete. The world is screwed. Complete your mission. Don't try to be a hero, because the people that try to be heroes end up worse off than dying in a lot of situations. My players encountered a creature that they learned was tailing them, just this past weekend when we ran it at my godson's birthday party. I don't know why, but it was a good time, I guess, to play a tabletop for 2 hours. But they ran into it and they were kind of like, what is this thing? And one of the abilities I gave them is a sensibility, the ability to kind of tell like whether something's dangerous or if it's a certain constitution of like type of creatures, things of that nature. And the guy in our party that's a priest, I was just like, your senses are going haywire to the point where like you're freaking out. This violates the ideas of your faith. And he's just like, yeah, we should go. We should go. I don't know what this thing is, but I think that we as a party shouldn't be here. And I felt so proud of them for realizing that the creature in front of them was not meant for them to test their might on. And was absolutely there to remind them that there's a lot in this city they still don't understand. Because they were willy-nilly casting lightning bolts all over the place. And so I was rolling. They had encountered this creature a couple of sessions ago, and so I was rolling to see if the creature was going to encounter them from their wild use of just magic. And it did. And I had my other friend who had stopped by guest star as the creature, and he came up with the idea of it having a poisonous miasma when it unhinged its jaw, and I was just like, I'm for it. I was like, this thing now has bone blades and poisonous miasma stored in its stomach, and I'm like, I'm all for it. I say all that to say, scare your players.
Yeah.
Terrify them.
And feel free to
things
do
away from
weird stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly what the rules say. You're the DM.
Yes.
Make it weird. Make it weirder.
Yeah. Have fun, because you should have fun as a DM too.
I was gonna say, because your system's kind of based, well, not based, but your system's kind of similar to like Shadows of Esperance, like the Ogamic Stones, where like you put in whatever element you want to call out to, and it doesn't do the same thing every time. It's just like something related to that element. But also maybe I'll send you the PDF for Elisa's Guide to Dragon Bonding, where there's no set spells. It's more of a, I want this range, this power, this kind of effect, and you build the spells as you go. Which, to be fair, if you're used to playing a game like 5e, that's going to take a long time because your players don't normally... Okay. The average player doesn't think about what they're going to do until it's actually their turn, regardless of how many times you tell them that they're on deck.
Sounds like this is coming from a place of hurt.
Of pain.
Sounds
when you were saying you were proud of your players, my players, I already said our last session was 8 hours long, real time. We only got through one day. And about halfway through the day, because one of my players has an item that is slowly dissolving, and when it gets to the end, something bad is going to happen. And he's not really sharing with the rest of the group. They just know something bad is going to happen, because normally people don't carry other, presumably humanoids' bones around that smell terrible at dusk every day and start dissolving as if by acid. But they're like, oh, we have to make sure that we do whatever that is first. So tomorrow, we're going to go back to the place where we almost got TPK'd, and we're going to kill everybody there. And I was like, huh? I wasn't even looking up from the table until I was, huh? You going to what? Like, yeah. Tomorrow, we're going to fight them again.
They're gonna die.
We have 3 more people with us. We're going to win this time. I was like, are you though?
So they're prepared to die. That's what you're telling me.
Listen, I'm not here to tell you what you can and cannot do, but okay.
So they've fully prepared themselves for death. That's what you're
Apparently.
telling me.
They also spent at least an hour drafting a sternly worded letter to all of the local governments to be like, you better help us, or we're not going to help you later. And after the decision that they're just going to go fight these people, I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be a later for you guys.
You know what? For your party, I hate to say it, this is good. For your party specifically, this is good. I've been waiting for them to have a moment that just completely unearths their sensibilities and terrorizes them, and I think this is it. I think you need to let a few of them get destroyed. Maybe it's time for a good old TPK.
I mean, it's not like he hasn't been trying.
Try harder now. I know.
It depends
this
on
might be-
how
might be
well
the
DM
universe.
Bacon can screw me at the end.
No, you need to disable him first. You need to disable him first. I never said that in such a horrible way, but you need to disable him first. Once he's disabled in the game, everything else will fall right into place.
But we're done with the features of you getting the subclass, but there's more to this.
Oh, I was like, I thought you said this was long, but this is like pretty short.
But wait.
There's more! I'm even going to change the music for this. I think it's only fitting that the next song that we play is Lost in the Maze.
Yeah.
That seems accurate.
So these are for, you can take different packs to the boon. You can take different pack boons when you're a warlock.
Ooh.
This one doesn't necessarily have anything extra, whereas there are a lot of other subclasses that have another kind of packed boon that you can add to them. There's multiple extra packed boons up on the repository, but this one just has ideas for you if you're going to use Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Blade, or Pact of the Tome. Pact of the Chain, they do give you a new familiar that you can have if you're this. I'm going to use that creature in my campaign later. I have so many ideas for mini tours.
I just read through it. This is amazing.
If you're Pact of the Blade, you have a blocky warhammer, as if you're carrying a sledgehammer, and that it moves, it phases.
Your packed weapon may resemble the weapon of a stone statue, intricate masonry hidden by decades of moss. Or it can mirror the actions of the Warhammer, of the Labyrinth.
I would even say, for your Pact of the Blade, that if you... Listen, y'all know I love evolving weapons. If you're a Pact of the Blade, and you're the Labyrinth, it only makes sense that your weapon can change shape and remodel itself. I would let you switch between the 3 damage types. As you get better at it, you can reshape your sword, potentially at the end at will.
I think playing off that idea, maybe instead of switching between damage types, you can evolve your weapon to its next scaled up weapon size. So if you have like a small mace, you can evolve it into like a warhammer, and then like if you have a warhammer, you can evolve that into like a great hammer for like a period of time. Because you've shaped your weapon out of stone. So like if you have a regular dagger, you can shape it into a sword and then shape that sword into a great sword and have proficiency with that weapon, because it's essentially you growing the weapon using the power of the labyrinth that you've trapped at higher levels. So you're getting like a damage boost because you're getting a weapon scaling boost, essentially.
I would even, like, at the very end of the spectrum, when it's fully evolved, like, you can shape it into multiple heads at once. Like, maybe you swing and it does double damage because now there's 2 heads, or there's 2 blades on it. You're just shaping it at will. So many ideas.
So much flavor.
So much flavor. Pact of the Tome, they're saying you might as well make it like a stone tablet, and what's on it is like etched, but the etchings move, the words change. I'm like, that's pretty cool too.
Oh, that's good.
They threw so much flavor into this. You just don't get that anymore. Not from 2024 rules.
I would
Missed it.
make the tome, the Book of Shadows, look completely different every day.
Oh,
Oh!
Like it morphs, but it morphs as a book. So like I mean, somebody could just hide as a warlock like this like forever. It's just like, yeah, this is the book I'm reading right now.
Ooh!
I'm just imagining that like a high level warlock of the Labyrinth is, like you said, writing a book or something like that. Like he's just like sitting down on like an ever moving labyrinth like room as he wants to. Like he doesn't have to worry about camping outside. He's just like, I'm gonna form a piece of the labyrinth around me to sleep in tonight. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Oh,
I
that's
would absolutely
fantastic.
totally give
Like I'd give him his own TARDIS like effects.
yeah, no, I was thinking you would just get like what's his face's tiny hut, Lehman's tiny hut, just like as one of your abilities.
But yeah, it would just be shaped as a labyrinth purely. Like it's only shaped as yeah.
And
I'm
like
for
if
this.
you could make it so that people, like, you know how with Lehman's tiny hut you usually only have two options, like you can keep people out or you can let people in. I would introduce a third option where if somebody came in that like you were tricking, you would allow them in, but they would go into like a pocket dimension and wander around a little mini labyrinth instead.
Yes. Yes, like that's how you appease the labyrinth. Like you have to use it in that way, kind of like to trick your target in, so they can be judged by the labyrinth.
Yep.
Side mini game as well. Your players are designing their own labyrinths if this is their warlock patron that they can send people into.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. I would definitely say that I would create a mini game of them listing and growing and spending gold with like a labyrinth worker whose pure job is to fill it with monsters and creatures and things of that nature. To like, I'm taking the Bastion rules, but I'm applying it to your labyrinth. But
Dungeon
you
Keeper,
literally, I'm
let's
taking dungeon
go.
the game Dungeon Keeper. If you guys out there were watching the VOD, or anyone in the YouTube or Twitch space that knows the game, it was a game that was purely about you being the master of a dungeon, and you had to build the dungeon to kill adventurers. So the more deadly your dungeon, yes, the more deadly your dungeon, the more power you got. There was even like a weird like Super Nintendo one way back when it was like the Japanese only one that some people say inspired it, but it's such a cool idea to have you designing a death trap as an adventurer.
There
that
was
potentially other adventurers could run into. Like I would take that player's labyrinth and then make that the labyrinth that another party could run into.
Yeah.
And that's even, well, for those of you watching, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Essentially, that's what he did. He built a mega dungeon underneath his country that people can go into. You get a bracelet that lets you respawn if you die, but there's items and stuff in there. He's populated it with monsters. That's such a cool concept. And there was a Final Fantasy version that came out on the Wii called My Life as a Dark Lord, where you're basically building floors in your dungeon so that adventurers can come get killed. And even though Dungeon Keeper isn't still going, it has a spiritual sequel in the series Dungeon, which I think they're on Dungeons. There's 4 of them now, I think.
Ooh.
Except they also have an overworld component where you have to send your minions to trade between your dungeons.
Oh.
I like the idea of this being an entire labyrinth economy.
This is so cool. Yeah. There's so many ideas built into this one thing.
Yeah.
like you could reward the player with like items from that person potentially off of like a treasure table. Like, oh hey, you filled the dungeon quota for like this period.
Yeah.
Maybe part of your deal with your patron is that you have to continually deliver building materials. It's your job to travel around and see where the best deals are so they can keep throwing them into the labyrinth and the labyrinth can use them.
That's like how you start out. You start out with materials, you move up to monsters, and finally you end up like designing and transferring.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Like,
the whole campaign! This is so cool!
It just gets darker as you go. It starts out like really goofy with like negotiating for stone and stuff and like making friends among like tradespeople.
Only to learn like, by the way, you're gonna have to start dumping bodies in here.
Yep.
I'm definitely, and I love when you make that horrible twist on people of like, oh, this is so cutesy, and then everyone's just like, wait, where's the joy? What happened to all the happiness and love? I'm just like, gone.
I'm thinking using this in conjunction with something like Heliana's Guide or Ryoko's Guide, where there's for lack of a better term, a Shadow the Colossus component where you go and seek out a kaiju and you gotta beat it even though it's house or mansion sized. You go beat it and like you subjugate it to put it in your dungeon.
Mm.
Oh, there's so many ideas. Oh my god!
Yeah, you could run pretty crazy with this, I think. I think you're gonna run extremely crazy with this.
It's got so much cool background to it that like it's more than one player's worth of coolness here.
Like, it's almost like disappointing if you only have one player ever who's like, I want to be a labyrinth. I want the labyrinth to be my patron. No, I want like a whole party of people who want the labyrinth to be their patron.
But maybe that's something that you have if you have a labyrinth patron warlock in your party, maybe it's something that the other players want to invest in.
Yeah.
Like maybe they don't necessarily gain the same benefits, but if the labyrinth starts to trust them, like you could have the labyrinth share kind of, I guess, like bonuses with them.
Yeah, like it gives them the condense or expand ability like once a week or something. Well,
or maybe it gives them like a Eldritch invocation, like as a thank you if they've reached enough. Like it would only happen once, but you would just give it to them as a feat almost. However, they have to kind of maintain their good relationship with the labyrinth to keep it.
Or I'm not saying you have to do this, but not necessarily as a Deus Ex Machina or anything, but someone in the party who's not a warlock. This is not their patron, but someone who has given that warlock a bunch of stuff over time for the labyrinth. Maybe they're in real danger and all of a sudden like a wall comes up for the floor and just starts expanding and puts them in a labyrinth for their safety momentarily.
Yeah. It's like the labyrinth has chosen you.
Ah! And then you can multi-class. Let's go!
If you want to go really weird dark humor with this,
yes,
the entire party is a family that lives in and works for the labyrinth. Everybody has their own job for it. It's like this creepy Addams Family meets Swiss Family Robinson setup.
Oh, that's sick! I love everything that just came out of your mouth, too!
The oh,
this is fantastic. This is fantastic.
Damn it!
I know we all want to campaign with this now.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is for sure going in the repository, y'all.
But maybe we could but to give a little bit more, noting some of the identifications that we do have, because he gave us some more stuff. I feel like we're about to get even more joy from this. Starting off though with the identification that he gives to anyone who takes Labyrinth Patron, guiding clue.
I just learned that word from this. I was like, huh.
Yeah. You've experienced the worst of the worst when it comes to being lost. Your patron being the very definition of the word. You are unable to be lost even magically. Do you know what this does to forests cast with like purposeful magic to disorient people?
It wrecks everything Fae.
Yeah. Like the Fae are sitting up there like kiki-kiking because they see your party walking up, and your character is just literally as dumb as a brick walking through like, yeah, no, I don't know why you guys are wandering in circles. The door is right here. And the Fae are just like, what is he?
My party actually accidentally did that to our DM once. We walked in the wrong end of a Fae trap and then like rolled really high on our perception checks. And we just like walked right through a whole forest of illusion.
Oh, what did your DM do?
He was so mad.
I don't blame him. You could even like, clue in this case could be any piece of thread, so it's like the golden thread when you're going through a labyrinth. I love that idea of like, oh, follow the path. Listen, I know a lot of people hate it in video games, but in a TTRPG, be like, oh, you see like a golden thread ahead of you. Do you want to follow it? Go follow.
There's a little arrow floating in the air just ahead of you.
Like there's just a stone that just keeps skipping down the road in the direction you need to go.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Or like those little light strips that are like on the sides of the walkway in like a theater.
Or alternatively, because it says you're unable to be lost, anytime you start to seem lost, rocks just form in the direction that you need it to be going in.
Yeah.
You like go to take a step and it's in the wrong direction, and those little cubes come up from the ground. They like push your leg away. They're like, no.
Mm-hmm.
It just like picks you up like you're on a little platform and rotates you the right way, and then puts you back down.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I guess. And you just start to realize like, oh, I must have been going the wrong way. Like you just get used to it after a while. Like, oh, this is.
Yep.
Oh, I love all these ideas.
This is so good. Speaking of messing with the Fae, do you want to take the next one, DM Lacara?
Maze-like mind. It is difficult to maintain straightforward thoughts under the employment of a labyrinth. When you must make a saving throw against being charmed, frightened, or influenced by other means, you may add your charisma modifier to your roll.
Holy crap. That is huge.
Isn't charmed usually a charisma saving throw?
And you're a warlock, so yeah.
So do you get to add
double
it twice?
I guess. I'm guessing.
Basically.
Wow, so it gives you expertise against.
Basically.
Nice.
I'll take that.
It's like, no. You think you're twisted? You're not twisted. You don't know what twisted means.
If they get into your head and it's a maze and they're just like, oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place.
Let me out. No.
Oh
no.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It would just be like, oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. You're mine now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually at a higher level, I would let that ability level up to where then you can turn it around and make them make the saving throw against you.
Who's in the labyrinth now, bitch?
Exactly.
It's just like, haha, I charm you. It's like, no, I charmed you.
Huh? Wait, what? Can you do that?
It's like, wait, how did you? they look around, they're already in the labyrinth, like trying to figure out like when they got there. Oh, I love that.
So good. I love the next one too. We were talking about this before, but it is an Eldritch invocation. I don't know if that's supposed to be Navidson or Navidson's, but his soliloquy. You can cast Banishment at will without using a spell slot or components. When cast in this way, your target is always sent to your patron's abode, which counts as a separate plane. You can't do it again until you take a rest. So, I don't like you. You're going to the labyrinth. Stay.
That's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Bye. And I'm sure they mean the old version of Banishment, because new Banishment is stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, when did this come out?
Definitely before the new stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
Yeah.
I'm
assuming it's more than a month old.
For the Watsy Nation attack.
Oh, Shin, you gotta take the next one.
Well, it looks like you can acquire, oh my goodness, you got the horns. If your Pact of the Chain familiar is a Minotaur and it is killed by a creature, you gain advantage on attack and damage rolls against this creature. The effect ends on the end of your next turn. Okay, the implication that you are literally summoning a growing Minotaur.
I love that it's a mini tour.
Oh yeah. It's on the next page.
Yeah.
It is a mini tour.
Oh my god.
Like they took out your Minotaur.
How
So you
dare you?
Yeah.
Do you know how long it's gonna take me to invoke them again?
Oh my! You just start like yelling at, and you just slam them with. Oh yes.
You get an advantage on the damage rolls too. You don't see that very often.
Mm-mm. This
Because
and
you have that other ability where you add the bludgeoning on with bricks just flying. In this case, I'm going to say like tiny Minotaur head is just flying at them, made out of stones. Wham! How dare you!
Oh, the mini tour is gonna have to be a shirt.
yeah, you need the Minotaur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll be mad if I have a Labyrinth Patron Warlock and they're like, no, I want a different person.
Wait,
No.
guys, have we successfully built the world's tiniest party between the Minotaur, our pet raccoon, the Grey Witness,
Yeah.
and the tiny party? Yeah.
The oozling.
Have we successfully like?
We've got the.
Is that slowly? And Steve.
Oh, and Steve.
And
Yes,
Steve.
Oh, I
You
didn't make an
cannot
icon
forget
for Steve.
I was gonna say, has Steve been shared yet?
We did share the picture of him on a shirt, but I didn't make a button yet.
Okay.
He's here. He hasn't gotten angry at anything yet, so that's good for this session.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have slowly acquired a tiny party.
Love it.
Populated a tiny world.
Okay, DM
This
Lacara.
entire thing is a pocket dimension.
Basically, do you want to take remodel or omniscient blueprint?
Ooh. I mean, how can you choose?
That's true. So take
I'll
them both.
remodel. When you hit an attack with your pact weapon, you may force a creature to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, you may choose a body part of the creature and fleetingly shift it, dealing an additional 1d10 of damage and causing it to unequip or drop any items on that part. Once per short or long rest. So you remodeled their body.
Yeah.
this is so much of this plays itself to like gallows humor. This is fantastic.
Mhm.
I am making everybody I fight, well, one person I fight before every sleep naked, okay? Something's coming off, man.
Just like the terror your character gets to just wreak on combat.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't break
I
anything. So I'm happy because there's too many things we've gone over lately that have been like, oh, break their weapon. No, I'm not playing Pathfinder. Leave me alone.
I would
Even when
make
you're
that.
playing Pathfinder, you're not wanting to play Pathfinder. I'll let you know that.
I would make that additional 1d10 of damage be psychic.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna mess you up seeing, your leg suddenly be on top of your head.
Mm-hmm. If it doesn't, you're a psycho.
Yeah. Yeah, really, what are you fighting?
Yeah, like you're. But just imagine also being like, and I don't like your hand, and just like slapping it up to their shoulder.
Also, like at high levels, when you have your +5 proficiency, or if you're playing 2024 rules and for some reason it's 10, that 10d8 plus 1d10 in one swing, that's a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually frightening amount of damage. Now that you say that out loud, jeez, that's.
You really hate that one guy in particular.
No, seriously, you have no care for that person at all.
But this last, are you sure you don't want to take the last one too, DM Lacara?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
I want the spell.
Oh, fair. Oh yeah, we haven't gotten to the spell. I forgot about the spell. Omniscient Blueprint. So if you have Pact of the Tome, within your Book of Shadows lies every possible configuration of a building, your patron having created it before and again forever. Oh, the flavor! You can study the interior or exterior of a building you can see for 1 minute while holding your book, at the end of which you learn the following: how many rooms the building has, how many traps, if any, it contains, the rough layout of the building, not including secret rooms. If you study a building for 10 minutes or more, you gain advantage on perception rolls in or targeted at the building. I'm a
Wow.
case the joint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shortest stakeout ever.
As a DM, this is a nightmare.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Because I immediately have now watched the entirety of my planning, of my hiding things, disappear. Just instantaneously disappear into the night because somehow my players have found a way to look at this building and just go, 13 rooms here. I think there's about 13 rooms here, guys. And I have to just sit there and just go, yep.
Yep. I don't know how many of you out there have a copy of League of Dungeoneers, but it is basically like a D&D-esque game, but it's a board game. It's not really a TTRPG. But the way you build a dungeon in League of Dungeoneers is there's a deck of cards that have pictures of all the 3x3 cubes of map that there are, and you deal cards to build the dungeon as you go. And I'm thinking like, oh, this would be a perfect combo to keep alongside whoever this Warlock is. Because they're just building rooms. Like when you banish someone, you just deal cards from the deck and build that dungeon. That guy's trapped in there. And maybe, like we said before, you've been spending your whole campaign thinking up like, oh, what you're going to put in there. Maybe you have already put traps and stuff in there. Maybe they're going to get hurt while they're banished because they have to escape from your little version of the labyrinth. I love
Flavor.
delicious. But that takes us to a new spell.
DM
Kind of new
Lacara,
familiar. Yeah,
I
take
think
that
you
one.
really want to take loss.
Yeah. 4th level illusion. Casting time is 1 action, range 120 feet. VS, the components are a broken compass.
Ooh.
A little nod to Pirates of the Caribbean there.
A little bit.
Duration, concentration for up to a minute. For a brief duration, you call upon the spirits of the lost and afraid, of those who had ventured but failed, of those who succumbed to the environment, and force someone else to experience their last moments, causing them to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature becomes utterly convinced that they are in an inescapable area, such as a freezing mountaintop or a bombed-out wasteland, and becomes incapacitated from fear. Like capital I, incapacitated.
Mm.
At the start of each of the target's turns, they must make another wisdom saving throw. On a success, the spell ends. On a failure, they must immediately use all of their movement searching for an escape, ignoring danger, the direction corresponding to a d4 roll. It gives you, the 4 cardinal directions. In addition, the creature takes 2d12 psychic damage at the end of their turn. Their mind turning their imaginary conditions real. And if you upcast it, at 5th or 6th level, the psychic damage increases to 3d12, and if you use 7th or higher, it's 4d12.
That's insane.
Wow.
I love it.
That's a lot of damage.
I love but I love every second of it.
Yep.
10 out of 10.
That's a great spell.
It does damage. It takes this person out of the fight, and it's one of the only things that I've seen that says when you're under its effects, you ignore danger.
Yeah. There's other groups that I would allow take this spell too, like a trickery domain cleric.
Ooh.
Or something. There's other groups, a sorcerer. Like that's a versatile spell. So good.
Yeah, just because it doesn't say what it's for, and even if it did, remember, y'all are the DMs out there. You can decide who gets access to these spells.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Would you like to tell us
who
about
else this would be amazing for?
Oh.
Storytelling bard.
Ooh! The story's so good, you feel like you're there. Ah!
Yep. Okay, now the thing we've all been waiting for.
Yeah!
Okami, I'm gonna let you handle the mini tour.
Okay. Look at this little guy. Actually, he's probably not that little. Maybe these walls are very small. I don't know. But a Minotaur! Labyrinths, fickle beings with even more fickle reasoning, thrive on the fear of their what and why, or rather, their lack thereof. Sentient creatures, however, are uncomfortable subscribing to such doctrine, they assign logic to these places, imposing the personality of prison upon it. When enough people believe in such a thing, believe there is a monster within, even if untrue, a Minotaur is fashioned. So these guys just pop up sometimes. Oh no. Tiny monstrosity, chaotic evil. That's a lot of health for a familiar, but it's got dark vision out to 60 feet, PP 16. It is immune to being exhausted, frightened, or petrified, and it's immune to psychic damage, which is very, very unusual.
Yeah.
However, it has some pretty cool traits, like Breakdown. The Minotaur can spend 1 minute ramming its body, not just its head, ramming its body into a wall no greater than 5 feet long to create a hole large enough for a medium creature to fit through while prone. Upon finishing its work, the Minotaur takes 2d4 bludgeoning damage. So he's literally running face first into the wall, just over and over again until it comes down.
It's like, I'm going to get rid of this wall eventually.
It hurts, but it's worth it. Also, if you took that invocation from before, where if something kills your Minotaur, take advantage on hitting this wall. It was very mean to your Minotaur.
Beat
Has
the hell out
powerful
the wall
build.
with the wall.
Right? Has powerful build, and it's got looming shadow. It's able to cast a shadow much larger than its actual size, turning bright light into dim light or dim light into darkness if it stands in or directly next to the light source. I've never seen that ability before, but just imagine you're trapped, man. You don't know where you're going. And then you see this huge shadow just looms over you. That's even more terrifying.
Yeah, that's pretty frightening.
It's got gore, but the real thing that I love about this that makes me just want to put these little guys everywhere. Every mega dungeon has to have Minotaurs now, where people were so scared of getting lost. Gore does a lot of damage for a familiar, for sure, but Echoing Scream, you can only do it once per rest, unfortunately, but it lets loose an otherworldly screech. Creatures of its choice within 10 feet that can hear it must succeed on a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened of the creature until the end of its turn. However, because he's from the Labyrinth, I would make you start running. The kind of fear that makes you run away from this guy. And now you're caught in a horror movie. Better not trip.
You have to make a fear save every few turns because but it automatically forces you to run your max distance regardless of its distance from you.
I would make this thing crazy fast so that if it's chasing you,
you're always taking dash.
You're just like always looking over your shoulder like, it's so tiny, how is it keeping up with me?
Yeah, it does have a base speed of 40, so it's faster than the average adventurer. But I agree. Why doesn't this... Oh, for sure. Condense the world around this Minotaur. The world is his oyster. Double his speed. I guess the world is not his oyster. The world is his labyrinth. Makes more sense.
It's his. It's just his. However he wants it, it's his.
I love everything about this subclass. Everything here.
Yes.
Great.
I can wholeheartedly say that this subclass, it's silly in places, but it's balance, which is a lot of people's fears when it comes to homebrew. This makes sense. And the creator of this was nice enough to give lore-based reasons, which you don't get as much anymore.
Yeah,
especially not
just like,
in
here's the thing.
Yeah. It's nice to see someone take the time out to give you narrative reason. Even the Minotaur having this idea of how to perceive it within the labyrinth is amazing. Like, this is how a party's going to encounter a Minotaur, and this is what's going to happen. You know, like you said, let's make them run from it. Let's make them really fear what's coming for them. I love those ideas because you get an entire pocket dungeon that you as a DM can play with whenever you really want to as well.
I didn't think of it until you just said it, but it's also, everyone expects to have such a serious campaign, always becomes Monty Python at some point. So imagine you're running away from all these Minotaurs because they're casting shadows. You think they're so huge. and then you finally see one, you're like, oh, it's kind of cute, and then it just gores you.
Yes.
Like 5 of them gore you.
Also, their Labyrinth and Recall isn't even just they know exactly where they came from. They can make maps with their horns.
What?
That was their last feature that I forgot to talk about because I was just so taken in. I'm so taken in by Looming Shadow. But their Labyrinthine Recall is that they can also make maps.
What?
The Minotaur can perfectly recall any path it has traveled and is able to carve primitive maps with its horns.
That is amazing.
This is just bonkers.
It speaks Abyssal, so he's technically a demon, but not actually because he's a monstrosity, since technically he's birthed from people's labyrinthine thoughts.
This is just amazing.
This is hands down amazing work. I'm sorry you deleted your Reddit account. I would love to find more of you. Supposedly, they hung out on the Discord of Many Things, which is apparently a place that you can go to get feedback on your... I don't know if it's still in existence, but I assume it is because everyone's still using Discord. You can go get feedback on your homebrew stuff, which could be pretty cool. Or you could come to our Discord and talk to us about your stuff. And then you could be like me today. After I realized I was talking to the two of you for 40 minutes. I had sat down on the toilet and I forgot that I had stuff to do. And I was 40 minutes into a conversation with the two of you before I realized, well, separate conversations. I was like, it's been 40 minutes and I've just not stopped talking about D&D. I need to get up from the toilet. That's my version of the Labyrinth.
Listen, I have some of my best ideas on the can.
It's true. Sometimes you
But you know what's never on the can, guys?
We even have a new icon.
A subscription.
Boink. Come on
to
in.
the Patron and the
Courtesy
channel.
Of DM Lacara. Thank you.
I think DM Lacara obviously can also provide you guys with the absolute best way to help out Okami and subsequently the Roundtable in bringing you more and more content. DM Lacara.
We sum it up in 3 small words. Hit the buttons. If you have money and you would like to share some of that money with Okami for the excellent, excellent content that he provides, hit the buttons that give Okami. Push the button. And if you don't have money but wish you did, we're all with you. Hit the buttons to like, subscribe, share. Let's be honest, if we were all millionaires, we would not be here tonight.
This is true.
It's true.
It's true.
But push the buttons. Yep.
Boink. And he slides right out.
Was it Racky?
It's the new one you made. I have him slide in and out. I'm going to pop him up anytime a channel ad is playing from now on. I got this.
Yeah.
Look at you growing.
We do. I already volunteered to be like, I mean, you're doing all the work. Can I just give you the money when I get it?
No.
And that's the response I get.
Yep. Not my channel, not my thing.
We're here for you.
Yeah, we're here for you.
Oh, thanks.
Now,
guys.
if we become subsequent millionaires simultaneously, then yes. Then I think both DM Lacara and I are both okay with accepting a few $1 million.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah. If we go viral and you've sold like 1 million t-shirts, then yes, I will start taking
But in its current state, I think we're just happy, Okami, to be here with you and you giving us the platform to also express our opinions.
Mm-hmm.
here on the roundtable.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping we get more of the other roundtable folks in again soon-ish. Hoping.
You never know.
Never know. There's plenty of room here at the table. I was gonna say it infinitely expands, but it expands as far as Discord will let us expand it. At some point, we might have to make a server instead of a chat, but we'll see. So we have one more thing to look at, which is much smaller.
Okay.
And I didn't put up the other versions of it. So this is the last released version of Chaos Domain by Beardify. So if you're following us on YouTube, you can just check the description, follow along. If you're on Twitch, I'm gonna throw it in here and pin it for the next 30 minutes. There were
Pretty
multiple
tiny.
versions of this.
Perfect.
This was the latest released, but I kept the Reddit version specifically because there's comments in here about changes, and part of it is cut off. And I was like, okay, we'll have to take a look at the comments on it, because a lot of people are like, this could be tweaked, and even the author was like, I made a mistake here and there. But this is the Cleric Chaos Domain.
Let's take a quick look.
Do you want to
Seems
start
pretty-
us off, DM Shin?
Well, sure. The Chaos Domain. Deities of the Chaos Domain, such as Eris or Bathsheba. Ooh, you don't see that name often.
Right?
Mock the ceremony of innocence and order. They send forth clerics to wreck this facade and reveal the true nature of the multiverse. Unpredictable, uncontrollable, irrepressible. Chaos deities grant powers of change and destruction to their followers and enjoy watching them break boundaries and create havoc just because they can. And that grants them some Chaos Domain spells. At the first level, they get Grease and Hideous Laughter, which Hideous Laughter is a great spell. I don't care what anyone says.
Hideous Laughter is so helpful. Well, I
third
mean,
level-
if you're the DM.
Oh, yeah. Oh, oh, yes. At the third level, you will gain Shatter and Alter Self. 5th level, granting you Stinking Cloud and Gaseous Form. 7th level, granting you Confusion and Polymorph. And 9th level, giving you Seeming and Conjure Elemental. But I'm imagining because you're at the Chaos Domain, you're getting a Chaos Elemental.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that is frightening.
So one of the comments on here is everyone's like, how could you not put Chaos Bolt in the Chaos Domain spells? And the author was like, I would put it in, but I wanted to keep it to only PHB spells in case someone didn't have those books. But like,
You can swap.
yeah, you guys can do whatever y'all want. It's your games. Fist, I just read what you wrote. You do. I told, apparently half of my table didn't know that you want to kill Jamiroquai. Like, that's your whole shtick now. And they're like, what? How dare he?
We're going to kill the mushroom. Oh, no.
Oh, man. Listen, words are hard. Reading is hard. Would you like to tell us, DM Lacara, about quantum chaos?
I hate quantum stuff. Alright. I really do. I have fundamental problems with it, but that is not a topic for here. From first level, an aura of unpredictability surrounds you. When a creature within 60 feet of you makes an attack or casts the spell with a single target, you can use your reaction to force it to make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, the creature must choose a new target for its attack or spell. If no other target is available, your use of the feature fails and has no effect. You must choose to use this feature before you see the results of the attack roll or spell. You can use this feature an equal number of times to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
That's insane to me.
Isn't there... I feel like there's another feature that's similar to this.
I
But I can't
had
remember if it's an abjuration wizard thing or a cleric thing.
maybe an abjuration wizard thing. I think
Yeah,
you're right.
there's definitely something somewhere where it makes it you force a retarget.
I had
like a redirect.
yeah. I
Yeah.
had a cursed item in my campaign. It was an armor from I forgot the thingy that it came from. It came from somebody's homebrew supplement where it was all cursed items. And the armor's curse is that damage that you should take, someone around you takes it instead. So this guy accidentally got basically his whole family and clan killed because he put that armor on. And no matter what was happening to him, somebody else was basically dying from it. There's a much weaker version of that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I support this. What do you get else? What else do you get though? The Chaos Domain, Okami.
You get Tools of Havoc. At first level, your deity grants you fun new ways to smash things. You gain proficiency with martial weapons. I didn't realize they didn't have that, but I guess that makes
They
sense.
do. Yeah, clerics sadly do not. That's why a lot of us dip into fighter. Or paladin sometimes. Or sometimes I've seen ranger too. But what else do you get? Maybe tell us a little bit about this divinity, because that was really short.
Channel Divinity. Invoke Discord. Not the chat program. Starting at second level, your Channel Divinity creates upheaval among your foes. You can use your action to create an illusion in an unoccupied space within 60 feet of you, forcing creatures of your choice that can see it to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. A creature that fails is charmed by you. While charmed, it views the illusion as the object of its greatest desire. It uses its turn to move in the safest possible path toward the illusion, so it's not as good as Lost.
Nothing is.
Provoking opportunity attacks if necessary. So in that one case, it's shunning, keeping itself safe, but will use its action to make a melee attack against a random creature within 5 feet of the illusion if able. So you're using this to get the enemy team to fight amongst themselves. At the start of your next turn, the illusion vanishes and the effect ends. A creature that succeeds on its saving throw against this feature is immune to it for 24 hours. Please fight amongst yourselves. I'll watch. Don't worry. It'll be fun. For me, not for you.
Did I mention
that? And the fact that each of those people who failed see a different thing is great, because now there's like 6 people screaming about different stuff, and everyone's like, "What are you? Ah!"
It's like, what are they on? It's like, couldn't tell you.
No idea what's going on there.
You want to take the next one, Shin?
Oh, sure. Obviously, if you're a Chaos Domain cleric, you will end up having an anarchic soul. I don't know why pronouncing that word just feels like I forgotten how to speak English, but
it's all gravy. We've all been there. Don't worry.
It's too many hard C's. Like we don't do that in English.
But by 6th level, the wild power of your deity makes you hard to control. You have advantage on ability checks and saving throws against being restrained or charmed. So you're basically so wild that your deity's just like, I don't even tell them what to do.
I taught them everything they know and I turn them loose.
Yeah, it's like they just do what the hell they want, and I just let them rock.
Those are also very, like, I've never seen charmed and restrained in the same ability mentioned before. And that's cool.
Yes.
Yours was pretty short. I think you got to take Divine Strike.
Actually, I think DM Lacara should take Divine Strikes. I will take the final one, though.
Okay.
What do we have here? At 8th level, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with raw chaos. Once on each of your turns. Wait, this is going to be great. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 damage of a random type to the target. It increases to 2d8 when you reach 14th level. And then you roll a d10 for each d8 to determine its damage type each time you use the feature. And you get, your choices are acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant, and thunder damage. That is so much better than Chaos
Yeah.
Bolt.
Yeah.
If your players like rolling dice, highly recommend.
Yeah. Wow.
If
That's
you're
fabulous.
the DM, also highly recommend. Don't explain it to your players what's happening as you're rolling the dice. Then explain later.
Yeah.
And every time this person attacks, it'll be different numbers most likely, and they'll be like, what is this guy?
What is happening?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you slap this on like someone who decided that at the 8th level, like, cool, I'm tired of being a Chaos Domain cleric. I'm going to now throw Holy Hands. And slaps this on a Chaos Domain cleric monk hybrid with Flurry of Blows. Just lighting someone up with
just a maelstrom of randomness.
Yes.
Oh,
you could
that's
take
good.
6 levels of you could take just 6 levels of monk and then go right back into into the remaining levels of cleric to get this. It's a little 14th level version of it. So, and just light someone up with just holy damage. Just radiant hands.
Yep. So good.
But the last thing you get at 17th level is Pandemonium Unleashed. By 17th level, your powers undermine the order of reality itself. Each time you cast a spell or cantrip that deals damage, you can roll a d10 to change the damage type to a random type. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is very... Oh, there's a section of it that gets cut off. It's supposed to say, after level 17, your proficiency... Oh, sorry, no, that's not it. No, wait, no, where'd they put it? No, now I can't find it. Oh, man, somebody else wrote in what it was, and now I can't find it. That's annoying. It's something about proficiency bonus usage. And people were mad because... Oh. Changing the one target. Number of targets equal to your proficiency bonus at 17th level. But that doesn't help. Oh, I guess when you're changing the damage type, each of those people can get it. It is pretty weak as far as like your subclass capstone ability, but it does fit the theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since it's cantrip or spell, I feel like it's kind of cool to imagine that a lightning bolt of some kind is just striking every target for varying damage types.
Yeah.
Like you threw a fireball and every single damage tie they took is just like something random.
So good.
The dragon's looking at you like, why would you throw a fireball at me? And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, why does this hurt?
What did you do?
That's not fire. Not anymore.
Oh.
Fire, it's also some other stuff.
It's fire plus. It's fire premium.
It's subscription fire.
Yeah. You can't just get this fire for free. It's not. I pay for my fire. I think though, after looking at the Chaos Tank Cleric, yes, the level 7, the capstone ability is a little weak. But I think you get a lot of cool stuff regardless. That maybe the only thing I would add to it would be that like you get to utilize at like 17th level the ability to conjure an elemental like once per day. I feel like that's always a cool idea of capstones for clerics. I always think it's always a wasted option for clerics that they don't have like some kind of divine call at the 17th level.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What happened?
Look what DM Lacara just made. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The speed at which you move is legendary.
DM Lacara has already made merch for our new favorite creature. Oh my god.
This is literally the party. We have to put them all on a shirt. It's like we need to make a great. This one we need to make
commission artwork.
With the power of AI or generators, anything is possible.
Oh my god. We have to commission artwork where it's like our party and then in the background, but almost transparent. Like just slotted in, faded in is Murmur looking at the party.
He's just overwatching the whole thing, just like, no, you put them at the table and Murmur's the DM, and he's just looking at all of them like,
yes.
Oh my god.
So good.
This is why, folks, we're glad you come every week to the round table. You get this flavor and sauce. You get to hear us bouncing ideas off each other. It's why I love coming back every week.
Yep.
And
so much fun.
It's why we get to enjoy sharing our ideas with you guys.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Because nobody else would listen to us rant about this for hours.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously. But again, if you liked what you've heard, please click happily for all the happy dings and tings that are gained from clicking the like and subscribe buttons here on Okami's channel. You can find me randomly, sporadically throughout the internet. And DM Lacara will forever be the force ghost of the internet.
It's true. If you want to talk to DM Lacara,
exactly.
Yeah, talk to one of us. We'll find her for you.
We will pass your, and by find her for you, we will pass the information on to her and provide you with the response if she deems
true
query worthy of an answer.
True.
All right.
Ooh.
I'm not going to be rude, but
true. I don't think any of us are particularly bad people. We're pretty nice when you get to know us.
Yeah. Unless you write for WotC.
Yeah, then we have some.
With you.
There's just a. Actually, and also oh, really? That's what you're going with?
Can we talk? So good.
I will say, I think, was it? No, yeah, it was DM Lacara, and I told DM Shin about it. But we have an idea for another segment, however we may do it, where we ask you guys if in sort of a Dear, I know that the three of us know what Dear Abby is, but I feel like the kids these days don't know it. But you used to be able to send in questions, and then this lady would give you advice based on them. And that's what Dear Abby basically is. We were thinking as a segment. We're not exactly sure how to collect them yet, but if you guys and gals out there have some idea on the best way to collect them, whether we do like a Twitter post or a YouTube post or something like that, if you have, if you're looking for DM advice on some things, you can ask us, and if we have enough of them in a that we can gather up, we could do an episode just helping y'all, like ask a DM or dear DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Dear DMs sounds confusing because DMs is also direct messages, but yeah,
Maybe
that
Dear
kind of thing.
Roundtable.
Dear Roundtable, yeah, that could work too. So we
I'd definitely
may
be down
start
for a
doing
Dear
that. If you
Roundtable.
guys watch, I don't know how much crossover there is between our audience and Shits and Gigs, but they ask a question on Instagram or something, and then at the end of the week, they'll talk about all the responses that they got. So something sort of akin to that.
Imagine Shits and Gigs is ironically listening right now. They're like, we heard him. We got questions. How do we get James and Fuhad in a game?
Okay, so it's not D&D related, but it is sort of related to this how I feel that particular interaction would go over. So I went to my friendly local game store over the weekend, and I was with one of my other friends, and there was some kind of Magic the Gathering event going on. But for those of you that don't know, the most recent set that came out is Foundations, and like it's built on the idea that you're supposed to be learning how to play. And there was this dude, there was no one in the back of the store where there's like 4 or 5 tables that you could be playing games at. Usually they play Pokemon back there. But there was a Magic event, so nobody's in the back except there's just one guy at the very last table. He's at the edge of the table by himself. And this guy looks like he just left the projects. Like does not fit in with the rest of things happening here. And in front of him at the table he has the Foundation starter set open, and he's reading the book Learning How to Play Magic by himself. And I was like, that's if I wasn't there with friends, I would have just sat with him and been like, "Yo, let's learn how to play Magic." But I felt so bad that he's clearly trying,
That's actually
and no
beautiful.
one was talking to him.
Oh.
Like, we don't want you to be that way here. So if you got something you want to talk
Yeah.
about, a question you want to ask, feel free to shoot it out.
Yep.
We'll answer. We promise.
I did find, as we were leaving, though, he had a friend there. His friend was just buying cards. So I'm hoping he at least went back and sat with him at the end. You don't want to see someone learning something that you know about just being all alone. That's sad.
Yeah.
Listen, we at the round table are always happy to help.
Yeah, well, where we can. One of the topics I definitely want to talk about on delving into your DMs is something that I didn't realize at the beginning until I played with other people. But yes, your DM is clearly the arbiter of rules within the world. But pretty much everyone at the table has a different knowledge base. So if you happen to be playing a game where multiple people have DM'd, they probably know rules that your current DM either doesn't know or is unfamiliar with or like didn't study up on. Everyone has like their own knowledge base. Feel free to ask whoever you can. Just know that your DM for the game obviously is the rules arbiter. But everyone's got knowledge. You can ask anyone for help at the table.
God knows I lean on like the other half of you guys that are DMs in my sessions. It's like, can I hit this with this? I don't know. Can you?
Oh, it's nothing's more handy than having other DMs be able to stop you and just be like, actually, it's this, and you're like, oh, thank you. Like I've seen that. We've had it even happen in the game that I'm playing in Waterdeep where damage was about to go off and my DM forgot like a D6 on the damage, and I was like, actually, it's one more D6, and he goes, huh, thank you. And I was like, yeah. And everyone in the party is like, what? Why would you tell him that there's more damage about to be dealt to us? And I'm like, because guys, that's just what you do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
Help where you
things
can.
happen when you get hit. So yeah, help your DM out. We're here to help you out.
Remember, they're probably
Your
your
DM
friends,
journeys.
most likely. Hopefully. Could be strangers, you never know. Maybe they answered
Could
a
be
200
complete total
plus question survey and ended up at the table with you.
I really hope they didn't answer the 200 questions.
Before we let
against
you
it,
guys
but-
go, I'm
Oh.
going to put the options for next week's poll in. I do actually know what I'm going to vote for, but remember, everyone at the round table has a vote, but also the community has a vote. So whatever you guys want to put in, we will see who wins, and then that will decide what next week's topic is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Huzzah.
So if you happen to be watching the VOD on Twitch, we do run the poll for 24 hours, so the Twitch VOD will be up, but you can't really comment on a VOD on Twitch. So come find me on Twitter, come find DM Shin on Twitter, and ask us. Come to the Discord, the Okami Kure Discord, and say this is what you want to see. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously just leave a comment. That's fine. I'll see it. Do you want to learn about elf tradwives? I guess it depends on what kind of elf you. We had this argument. This is related to not tradwives, but this is. I actually wrote homework tradwife. God dang it. We had this argument about elves in general because one of our party, Grimjack, he's like, oh, I always think of elves doing this. To him, he thinks the default elf is drow because he's been on the internet and usually the drow are sexy, so that's usually what he sees. And everyone else was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's wood elves is like the default elf. And now there's a definite push towards elves being sort of representatives of what once was because of media like Frieren, where there's only a few elves left, but they know what life was like before. They're like sort of arbiters of decay almost.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I still think the most common elf you see in media is like a wood elf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, 1,000% like your standard wood elf.
I should have put that was poll options, but I'm gonna assume you can draw from context clues that was poll options for those of you on YouTube. There's plenty. We got in a chat about. I didn't put the. I forgot what they're called. There's something. A Flaming Fist. I didn't add the Flaming Fist to my world, but I have all the other factions that appear in the original 2014 handbook in DMG. I just didn't put the Flaming Fist in because most of their representatives are just like racist old white guys. And I was like, I don't need a group for that. We could just have a racist old white guy here and there if that's what you guys want.
I don't know if that's really the clamoring your party needs to look for. Not gonna lie, I feel like that's a unique niche. I'm not sure how they got to.
Like, are the Flaming Fists here? I was like, nah, they don't need, like, I don't need to gather up all the racists, okay?
Like, yeah, like, I'm not sure that you need to have the racial draft.
There are plenty of factions you can go through, and you can make your own. You can even make splinters. Like, in my world, the Zentarum, I kept... If you're following the regular timeline, my game is taking place in the year 1492, not when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, but 1492.
Damn it, you heard my brain.
And so there's actually a schism. There's like a civil war within the Zentarum that are in Waterdeep, where the people in the Zentarum who actually want to go legit end up jailing like all of the more criminal, because they're still criminals, more criminal element of the Zentarum. So they're sort of a splinter in Waterdeep now, where they used to be Zentarum, but they're not, but they don't like have a title at the moment. So we have that, and then I have another splinter that I got from a different supplement where they were talking about people who only use. I'm about to summon Grim from wherever he is. People who only use gunpowder-based weapons. There's a splinter of the Zentarum that is off in like where pirate territory normally would be. So you could even break up what's there, canonically or not. Just hey, there's schisms that happen everywhere. Maps. That'd be a first one. We haven't done maps before. So many maps. I'm a patron on Patreon of Moonlight Maps. I'm also a really big fan of their atlases. Even though I still haven't opened Atlas Volume 1, and I have it.
What?
Which is 100 maps. 100 physical maps, and I still haven't opened the box.
Kami, I'm gonna body slam you to a computer screen.
I just realized my player Valley of Egeria, who plays the Water Genasi in my campaign, she had said before she came over, oh, like when we stop, can you like give me some terrain and stuff I can use for the campaign? And we didn't do that. But also, I'm just thinking, how's she gonna know what terrain she needs if her players haven't answered her 200 plus questionnaire?
I'm really just mind blown by this 200 plus essay that they have to answer.
It even has, not only does it have multiple choice, it's also got fill in the blanks, and it has slider questions.
It's a test.
Basically.
They're taking an exam. I can't say they're taking a D&D exam.
Oh, I did. So one of the things we had talked about before on DM Roundtable, I did speak to my friend who would most likely be able to make an app about the idea we had spoken about way back when. I will eventually make a delving into your DMs video about this as well. I think there's 6 cultures of play within TTRPGs, and I think it would be helpful if you were looking for a group to have some kind of visual representation of what your play style is. That way it'd be super easy for you to be like, oh, this is the kind of game I want to play in. I talked to DM Bacon because he is an app developer. I was like, what do you think of this idea? And he was like, well, I mean, I think first of all, you should just find a place online where you can make a quiz, and then we can find some way to transfer its results into a visual representation. And he was like, oh, the only reason you would make an app at this point is if you're charging people for it, so you're going to have to come up with a subscription-based model. And I was like, ugh! He was like, I mean, you could set it up so that if you pay for it, it actually looks for people within your geographical area or your online platform of choice. And I was like, you want to make a dating app for looking for group? That's the only logical conclusion I can draw. And I was like, I mean, I'm sure there are people who would use that. But I don't want to get ghosted on that app too.
God. I hate it.
But yeah, just some stuff we're working on for the future. There's plenty in store for the future.
And also, folks, for future notice, and just so you know, we mentioned earlier to subscribe to the Patreon, but one little final note, there is a free patron option.
That's true.
You can subscribe to the Patreon for free for now and get some of the benefits of being a part of the Patreon.
And there'll be merch soon.
Yes, there will be merch.
You'll probably see the merch first.
Ooh. Oh my God, we're zooming ahead, y'all.
We are.
This is fantastic. I've also, since you guys are here anyway, I will share with you. I've made some changes to one of the Patreon and YouTube member rewards. There's a new column, if you already have access to it, on the D&D music overhaul sheet, where I'm going to start leaving. It's just a colored box at the end line of all the songs, where if it's okay to put in a stream, if it will make it so that you can't be monetized, or if it'll get blocked or give you a strike. So that you know if you are going to stream and you're using that sheet, like what songs are okay to put online. Because that's probably going to be helpful to some of you. Obviously, that's going to take me. I'm going to fill it in as I go. I'm not just going to open a stream and play every song on the list.
I was gonna say that. I think that's like a work in progress. That's gonna.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little bit of time.
That will be the next Patreon and YouTube member notes post, but you guys can have a sneak peek at it, or rather, a sneak preview. I'm not actually going to show it yet. It is there though. If you have access to the sheet, you will have seen that I added a new column to it. But yeah,
I gotta go, guys.
Right.
I think we all gotta
I was
go.
gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can click links and find people if you want to talk to us, or you can come to the Commentary Discord and chat with us. If you want to chat with DM Lacara, though, you're going to have to go through us first. You can't see me flexing, but I'm flexing.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Unhired help.
But we will see everyone next week, Monday at 8. Eastern
Bye.
time.
Everybody.
Bye, everybody. I'm going to kill YouTube first. Actually, I'm going to kill Twitch first. Bye, everybody on Twitch. Remember to put in your votes if you want to, because so far, it's Maps that's winning for the community vote. And YouTube. Bye, everyone.